One more day arrives in the tropical forests and the humid subtropics of the Americas. Life awakens, transforming different environments every second. Like here in the forest canopy, where fauna is abundant. But oftentimes, this richness of life is imperceivable to our eyes, such as the hollow parts of trees, where water accumulates, creating small aquatic ecosystems. Here, life is also abundant, and it follows its own cycle. But it can generate organisms that represent a danger to human and animal health. In these tree hollows, various species of wildlife can proliferate and take shelter. This is the case for several mosquitoes. Examples include a species of the Aedes genus, Aedes terrens, and some of the Cebethus genus, such as Cebethus albiprivis, and the Cebethus chloropterus, as well as those that are the focus of this video, mosquitoes of the genus Haemagogus. Let's explore a little bit more about the life of the mosquitoes. Haemagogus Janthinomys, Haemagogus Capricornii, and Haemagogus Leucocelaenus, which are all vectors of the arboviruses such as myerovirus, but principally Sylvetic yellow fever. Haemagogus Janthinomys and Haemagogus Capricornii appear identical on the outside. Their bodies are colorful, with legs and thorax, including the antipronutans, covered in shiny scales that reflect blue-green, and an abdomen with violet reflections. In contrast, Haemagogus Leucocelaenus is a mosquito with a predominantly black body with no colored scales, but with spots of white scales and stripes on the thorax that are typically silvery. There is a longitudinal stripe on the thoracic shield and two parallel inclined stripes located laterally on the pleura. Mosquitoes of the genus Haemagogus only exist on the American continent. The geographical distribution of the Haemagogus Janthinomys extends from Central America, Honduras, Nicaragua, and some Caribbean islands, and reaches southeastern Brazil and the northern part of Argentina. Its territory overlaps that of Haemagogus Capricornii, whose distribution is mostly restricted to the southeastern region of Brazil, having only been found from the south of Bahia to the north of Santa Catarina. Haemagogus Leucocelaenus is found from Panama to Trinidad and Tobago, to the south of Brazil and the north of Argentina. Haemagogus mosquitoes are exclusive to undeveloped wild areas. They only proliferate where there are forests, even if sparse. Both males and females feed on sugars present in fruits and flower nectar. However, females are also hematophagous. That is, they feed on blood. light of each dawn works as a trigger for diurnal behaviors. When countless animals that live in the treetops enter into intense activity, looking for food, for example. This also happens with Haemagogus mosquitoes. At the first sign of the day, they leave their shelters to explore the forest in search of victims to suck their blood. Being increasingly voracious and numerous in the brightest and hottest hours of the day, and decreasing their attacks as night approaches. As the sun fully bathes the treetops of the forest, they are more illuminated than the lower parts. Considering this, within forests, the search for blood by these mosquitoes tends to concentrate into different strata between the ground and the treetops. Thus, while the females of the Haemagogus Janthinomys and Haemagogus Capricornii prefer to bite animals that are at higher levels in the treetops, those of the Haemagogus Leucocelaenus more frequently feed at lower altitudes. However, during disturbances in the natural surroundings, or when there is a decrease in the availability of animals in the canopy, the search for blood sources can occur at any level of the forest trees, even close to the ground. Females of the Haemagogus can bite various wild animals, or even humans, to enter a forest, whether for leisure or work, that include open areas near to a forest. In the forest, blood sources can include marsupials, such as opossums, that are common in wooded areas and sleep during the day. Several species of birds are also targets, and various non-human primates. Among them, capuchin monkeys are frequently bitten by these mosquitoes, as well as spider monkeys, pot-bellied monkeys, squirrel monkeys, marmosets, and howler monkeys. After feeding on blood, females look for places that are moist and protected to digest the blood, to obtain the nutrients necessary for the maturation of their eggs. If the ingested blood is infected with yellow fever virus, it is also during this period that the virus begins to replicate in the mosquito's stomach, before viral particles spread to the insect's salivary glands, where it can be injected within the mosquito's saliva about 12 days later, when it sucks blood from another host. Gestation completed. After about 3 days, the females of the Haemagogus can fly to 11 kilometers in search of new blood sources, or, principally, an ideal place to lay eggs. Being able to cross large forested areas, such as pastures and plantations that are interposed between patches of forests. When the female finds a suitable incubation site, essentially a hole in a tree, she lays her eggs by attaching them to the internal walls of this nursery. Haemagogus Janthinomys and Haemagogus Capricornii prefer to spawn in holes in trees located in very high, almost unreachable places. Haemagogus Leucocelaenus share these habits. But in addition to tree hollows, that can include those located at lower heights, it can occasionally spawn in open bamboo internodes and other phytogens, which are small water reservoirs that are formed in parts of plants. A notable characteristic in both species is the resistance of the eggs to desiccation. They can remain in diapause for approximately 4 months. Importantly, while the yellow fever virus can be transmitted from an infected Haemagogus female to her eggs, her offspring may never be infected. With the arrival of rains, the water level rises inside the breeding sites, bathing the eggs, which allows some of the larvae to hatch gradually. When the water dries up, the eggs that did not hatch remain viable until the next rain, when more can hatch. Eggs of the Haemagogus Janthinomys and Haemagogus Capricornii may require up to 17 immersions to hatch. Although most Haemagogus Leucocelaenus eggs hatch on their first contact with water, they can require up to 8 successive immersions to hatch. This is an incredible strategy that guarantees the hatching of eggs from the same batch at different times of the year. After hatching, the larvae go through 4 stages of development and growth. Feeding on organic matter present in the water. During this phase, they rise often to the surface of the liquid to breathe through a siphon located in their last segment. At the end of the larval phase, which lasts 5 to 7 days, they transform into pupa. At this stage, they do not feed and breathe through a pair of spiracles located in trumpets in the cephalon thorax. This period can last 2 to 3 days. Finally, the winged forms emerge from the water as adults, a stage in which they become able to reproduce, perpetuating the species and transmitting the yellow fever virus. Sylvatic yellow fever periodically affects humans and non-human primates, mainly howler monkeys. When the yellow fever virus circulates in a forest, monkeys are usually affected by viral infections well before humans. Infected monkeys become seriously ill and die by the dozens, an event known as epizootic. Surveillance of epizootic events in non-human primates is a fundamental tool, as it allows the timely adoption of actions to prevent and control sylvatic yellow fever before the infection reaches non-immunized humans. In addition to epizootic surveillance, entomological surveillance, and understanding how Haemagogus mosquitoes live and behave are also crucial for the control of sylvatic yellow fever. Because knowing each part of its development allows improvements for more effective control measures, helping to prevent outbreaks and protect public health. And so, another day is ending in the forest. The light begins to give way to shadows, and the sun, previously vibrant, is transforming to compose the soundtrack of the night. Some animals are just beginning their period of activity, while others, such as mosquitoes of the genus Haemagogus, are entering a resting phase, but will return to their fateful journey at the next dawn.